Things aren't what hold the most value. People and experiences do. Being able to shift my way of thinking from that was a sign of growth. Hello beautiful souls, my name is Amir Monet and welcome back to Inner Glow. In today's video, we'll be talking about why is growth so uncomfortable. I'm going to share a story about myself when I was younger. Me and my family, we were living in Oklahoma and we were moving to Michigan. And so we had a huge Penske truck and we were putting all of our stuff inside that truck. We even had to leave some stuff behind. When we got to Michigan, we put a lot of our stuff, quite a bit of our stuff, in storage. And a lot of those things were like, obviously things that were very important to me and my family. And so one day, we ended up losing all of that. I was unaware of certain things that was happening financially within our family. That was definitely a situation where I had to grow. It was crazy. It was very unexpected and I didn't really know about it till it kind of just happened. And I was very confused. I was like, well, why? Why is this happening? Like, why? I had a lot of important things I felt like were tied to my identity. The artwork I had from when I was going to college and old family photo albums and just photos and pictures of me and my sisters and my entire family from when we were younger to like our teenage years, and things that I held value for. And when I lost those things, it was kind of difficult to deal with. It was very uncomfortable, but it was time for me to grow and shift my mindset. I had to shift my mindset to a way of thinking where I didn't tie value to those possessions, because that's all that it really was, and to hold value on memories and the moments that I share with other people and my family, even experiences. So in a way, I had to grow from a lack mindset to an abundant mindset, because there was abundance all around me if I could actually really pay close attention to it, and if I could reprogram my mind in the way I looked at value. During that age too, in my mind, I'm kind of like, oh, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing with my life? I haven't found a career that I loved, I want to have my own place one day and I don't have one, and my finances aren't where they should be. There's so many different things that in my mind as a younger adult, on top of losing my home, losing my belongings and things of that nature, I didn't know how to deal with it. So I had to figure out, and of course, I don't know why that's something that I have to grow in, is just keeping certain emotions and thoughts to myself about certain events instead of sharing them with other people, so that at least I'm expressing myself, which can in some ways help me deal with those emotions, but I did not. And so I feel like my outer appearance was definitely a reflection of my inner world, and it was not the most healthiest version of myself, I would say. After you go through lows, there can only be highs. We started to experience those highs as well. Not everything is the same in terms of like living situation, things like that. I'm really at a great mental space now than I was before, and I've definitely grown from the person I was in that situation to the person I am now, which is nice to see that progression. That's why we're going to be talking about why growth is so uncomfortable. Number one, why growth is uncomfortable, which is a lack of knowledge or information. Now for me, when I first started my growth journey, I started to try to tackle way too many things at once, and I had a list and I was like, okay, these are the things I need to work on. Let's do it. I did not have any strategies. I did not know what steps to take in order to actually grow within those areas, and I ended up feeling overwhelmed and frustrated, and then I ended up getting stagnant and not really working on those things, to be honest. And I also didn't have the tools that I needed. I didn't have the mental strength, and so there were different things that I needed to build upon first before just tackling those behaviors or whatever areas that I wanted to grow in. I started to read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, and he talks about how you need to first look at the identity that you want to become. If you always have the identity of the person you want to become in the back of your mind, it's easier for you to continue to work on those things and have that consistency. Also, he talks about implementing strategies. Now, what strategies can you take in order to make it fun to continue those habits, create those habits, and grow within certain areas in your life? Those are two different things that you should focus on that I did not really focus on when I started my growth journey. So number one was because of a lack of information. Now number two, letting go of the old and familiar. What is familiar to you is going to be hard to let go of. It's because you're having to shed your old self. Letting go of old habits, old behaviors, or even relationships. When you're starting to evolve and you're starting to grow, you start to vibrate at a higher frequency. You're no longer going to be vibrating with the people that are in your life. Not only do you need to let go of old behaviors and patterns, but also shedding limiting beliefs, even your lifestyle. A lifestyle change can be really great for you. So you just have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, which is something that I'm definitely battling now, because I feel like within the job and the field I'm in, I've been in sales for a long time, and so now that I want to do something new and different, it's very uncomfortable. And even making a YouTube channel and creating this video, even becoming comfortable with that and letting go of the inner dialogue that is not conducive for what I'm trying to do with this YouTube channel and what I'm trying to build. What's familiar feels safe. You know that it's been working, but whenever you want to branch out, do something new, do something different, you're not sure what the trajectory is. How is that going to play out? You have no idea. So then you start to feel overwhelmed, you start to feel anxious, you start to feel doubtful. You just go through a lot of emotions. But I think one thing is that we need to remember that by letting go, we make space for new and better things, and even new experiences as well. How can we create new things for ourselves if we're doing the same thing over and over again? If we're operating the same way over and over again? Certain emotions that can come up when you are having to let go of what's old and familiar can be grief and fear of the unknown and loneliness, which are definitely emotions I've felt as well, realizing that I had to let go of certain people within my own life. But I knew that as I was evolving, these people wouldn't have been able to stay with me anyways, because they were vibrating at a different frequency that I was at and no longer wanting to stay at. So, yes. Now, mental blockages. Mental blockages are internal barriers that can make growth feel uncomfortable. And now some of those emotions can be past traumas, self-doubt, and even having a perfectionist mindset, which I definitely suffer from. You have to let go of those emotions. In order to do so, you have to reprogram your mind. This is what I always say. The person that you see yourself as, what is their identity? Who are they? Now, I want you to put that in an area where you can see that every single day. And I want you to read over all of those qualities, everything, every single detail that you have written down about the person you see yourself as. And I want you to look that over every single day until you start to operate out of that identity. In order for you to do that is you have to live your life more consciously, and you can't be living your life on autopilot. Be intentional with your interactions, with the decisions you make. You have to be aware and very, very self-aware in order for you to implement the new identity that you want to become. that you know that you are. Now, the internal barriers that you have when it comes to trying to grow is only because you keep replaying these old narratives over and over again, which makes you feel stuck. And in order for you to move past that, you have to stop replaying those old narratives. You have to stop giving into those old habits and into those old ways of thinking. Every time you have a thought that is negative, I want you to counter that thought with a positive thought every single time. I used to do this often because before I was very depressed. I gave in to my negative thoughts. My sense of self was not there. This was in a period in my life where I was of this world. I was deeply within social media. I was programming myself with images or of people that I wanted to emulate. And I was like, no, this is not me. This isn't me. And I don't want to be mentally captured by other people. I don't want to be programmable. I want to have my own sense of self. I want to have my own identity. I want to be mentally tough so I can become the version I see myself as. Someone who operates out of love, someone who is intentional, someone who strives to live their life consciously, physically, mentally, and spiritually. I want you to challenge those limiting beliefs, and I want you to raise your level of self-awareness, and I want you to look at fear of failure as actually learning. That's all you're doing. You're not really failing. And I think what you need to do is just change the way you perceive failure, so then you don't always have this negative connotation when it comes to the word failure. And you don't just stop and not commit. Now, why do we need growth? Despite the discomfort that we may feel from growth, the reason why we need growth is not only for our personal evolution, but it's also for the evolution of everybody, for the collective. Now, if you made it this far into the video, I would like you to comment on a time when growth felt uncomfortable for you. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to embrace growth. Now that we've talked about why growth is so uncomfortable, now it's time to talk about how we can embrace it by shifting our perspective. So, stay tuned. Bye.